this is Mike Loboa. This is my IST 402 final project presentation. And for my final project, I did a Pi-hole network-wide ad blocking deployment on my Raspberry Pi 4 here. This is my current setup, and this is purely for demonstration purposes because I will be deploying this in my network closet or network panel where the router and network switches are, and it'll connect via Ethernet because right now it's only working off of Wi-Fi, which due to some problems and some troubleshooting steps, I needed to eliminate as many variables as possible, and that was one of them. So to first go off, some of the requirements for this project was it needed to be network-wide and work on every single network that this is deployed on, or every single device that is connected to the network. And unfortunately, this requirement has been postponed because while I was doing some troubleshooting, and I only recently figured this out because I have been on something of a forced vacation with my family for the past 5 days. Immediately after working in another state, I just found out that my router or my ISP provided router does not support changing out the DNS, which is effectively what this is a DNS server. This can be circumvented to a small degree, however, it's still very much a bummer. The next sort of step to solve that would be to get another router that I do own, and turn this Xfinity provided network gear into a bridge effectively. So I could hopefully keep all of the connections and all of that cached information. You can see Raspberry Pi over here, and just turn this into a bridge, and then make the router that I do own, or maybe turn this Raspberry Pi into a router, it could be another project, into the primary router, and then I can change the DNS from there. Something to work on a later day, but for now I'm simply going to be demoing the ad block. The other requirements for this project was that it needed to be headless because I want this acting as a server. This isn't a standalone computer, and it doesn't provide any useful display information for me that I can't access remotely, and that's sort of the name of the game here, is accessing as much of the critical information remotely as possible. And I did that using SSH, which I believe stands for just secure shell, and it means I can remotely access the Raspbian command line, which I can show you right over here. So I just recently finished setting all this up, but I can SSH into my Raspberry Pi using the Pi IP address and then place the password, which allows me to remote into it. And there I have pretty much the complete access to my Raspberry Pi, but it's currently working at the moment as because the Pi-hole has already been deployed. And because I can't change the DNS settings, the next thing for me to do is to do it on another device. So we're going to show it on this computer here, and this is a Windows machine, but I should be able to demonstrate using something called speed test. However, I think I have ad block on here, so let's see if I have Edge still. Yeah, I do. Speed test. Ookla speed test is pretty notorious for ads. So there we go. We have plenty of ads here. And I believe if I can get the network all figured out, network and internet settings, status, I think change adapter options. I know how to do this on macOS, but I'm wondering if I can demo it quickly here on Windows. So the only thing I really need to do is change the DNS, which I think is quite simple to do. Win10 DNS. Control panel, network and internet, networking tab. Change adapter settings. Right where I already was. Change adapter setting and click advance. Well, that's a damn lie. Figure. Advance, there we go. And now I should be able to find what I'm looking for here. So jumbo frames, might be good to turn that on. Google developers. That's what I'm looking for. So according to this, Ethernet properties, and then Internet Protocol properties, and then use the following DNS. There we go. 10.0.0.198, which is also the DNS for, or which is also the IP address of my Raspberry Pi on the network. So now that I've set that up, I think if I just refresh this, or perhaps go back again, because it's likely that the website was cached. Speed test. And there you go. There are no ads anymore. I think we can go ahead and test this. Oh, that's a lie. Well, now we can go ahead and take a look at the Pi-hole admin, which tab over into Google. I bet you, I don't know. I probably did wrong here. Properties. We can go ahead and look here and see that we have 3 clients in our dashboard. I think if I log in with the passcode that I saved from beforehand. Yep, with this passcode, FW, which is provided upon installation. are. We can now get a nice breakdown of all of the ads that are being blocked, and we can sort of see what clients are being used right now. So 10.56, that might be my MacBook, and this 10.122 might be my computer over here. I don't actually know. I think it's very quick. It won't take long to figure out because all I really need to do is IPv6, no internet access. Oh, how interesting. What that likely means is properties. I might not have provided an IP address or a DNS address for that. You can take care of that later though. However, going back into Edge here, going back into speed tests, there's still ads. Don't worry, I prepared for this because I don't have an ad block on my Firefox, and this doesn't display any ads. And to doubly make sure, I believe I can move over into Safari over here, refresh, and there aren't any ads as well. Do I have Chrome on this machine? Although it's very likely that I do have ad block on my Chrome. I think it's a simple toggle though. Yes, and ad block we can turn. That's strange. We can, nothing to block here. Well, I just want to turn it off for a second. Pausing the site once. And now the advertisements, which should be there, aren't there anymore. If I go over into my desktop computer, which is still hasn't quite been set up properly yet, there are still ads for dresses and other things. But if I move over here, the ad block, which is off, or is currently paused, nothing is getting through, except for WikiHow's own sort of built-in, not ads, but recommendations. I believe if I unpause it, there's no change as well. So that is how this little guy here is removing all of the ads. It is, I should note that YouTube ads don't quite work because they change their domain name way too often for the repository that Pi-hole, the various repositories that Pi-hole has to update to match. However, that is something that I can do myself, should I see fit, by accessing the Pi-hole settings here and setting up a blacklist. which I can add here, or a regex filter. So thank you, man. That's my little project here, and I'm going to be deploying this full time in my home network here.